The lost continent Lemuria. Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Why the Fact Not coming to all of you with a brand new video. According to so-called speculative theories, the Lemurians, believed to be the ancestors of modern human society, originated from the lost continent of Lemuria. The mysterious submerged land continues to captivate and intrigue people around the world today. Lemuria is often portrayed as a utopia on Earth. The enigmatic landmass is believed to have covered regions such as Africa, Madagascar, India, and islands in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. In 1864, the zoologist Philip Sclater first proposed the concept of a continent on which Lemuria was located in ancient times. Mythology suggests that all of Earth's land mass was once a colossal, ancient continent known as Pangaea, which broke apart over time, leaving some segments submerged underwater. Such is the supposed fate of Lemuria. However, these theories remain unconfirmed by science. The submerged Lemurian continent is also called the Mu continent. The name Lemuria is derived from the lemurs believed to have inhabited these regions. Meanwhile, the Indians had their own ancient term for the submerged continent long before the 1864 theory, calling it Kumari Kandam. The Lemurians are believed to have been part of a highly developed extraterrestrial society. Their lives lasted more than a millennium and their height was about 4 to 5 meters. They had 3 eyes, 2 in front and 1 behind, as well as 4 hands. However, they lacked digestive and some other human organs, relying on energy from nature for their sustenance. The Lemurians were highly spiritual and possessed extraordinary supernatural powers, including telepathy, levitation, and clairvoyance. In this video, we will look for the traces of the ancestors of modern human civilization. We will delve into the theories of their history and examine the version of an alleged ancient war with the Atlanteans. Legend has it that, like the story of Atlantis, Lemuria was engulfed by a colossal natural disaster and submerged under the Indian Ocean more than 12,000 years ago. The few remaining Lemurians scattered across the earth, laying the foundations of today's human civilization. Theories suggest that the spiritually advanced Lemurians gradually became more primitive over time, eventually becoming the ancestors of modern humans. At first, they were asexual and reproduced by cloning, but over time they developed human organs and separated into male and female sexes. Some theories suggest that the Lemurians and Atlanteans existed at the same time, albeit in different locations. Others claim that the Lemurians are descendants of the Atlanteans and that their society originated from the Atlanteans who survived the flood. Regardless of the truth, one aspect remains constant in the ancient myths. Unlike the Atlanteans, the Lemurians possessed no material wealth and demonstrated no material prosperity. They were primarily focused on spirituality and the divine. An interesting theory suggests that the Lemurians may even have predated the Atlanteans, supporting the notion that spirit came before matter. American scientist Ellis Silver proposes the idea that various advanced extraterrestrial species seeded humanity on Earth about 200,000 years ago. This hypothesis is gaining popularity in esoteric circles, with many rejecting Darwin's theory of human origins. In 1870, biologist Ernst Haeckel also suggested that Lemuria might be the cradle of mankind. The well-known occultist and medium Helena Blavatsky shared this view in her 1888 book The Secret Doctrine, in which Lemuria and the Lemurians were presented as the genesis of the human race. As already mentioned, the Lemurians were considered a race with clairvoyant powers, and according to esoteric enthusiasts, they foresaw the submergence of their own land. This foresight has enabled them to prepare for the coming flood and preserve precious relics of their existence and culture. It is said that among these protected treasures, the most valuable are ancient manuscripts dating from the Lemurian era, which to this day remain somewhere well hidden from us humans. The legend continues in that, although expected, the catastrophe happened earlier than expected. As a result, most of the population of Lemuria perished under the waters of the Indian Ocean. Only a few thousand Lemurians managed to survive. The continent's sudden disappearance resembles the dramatic and mysterious fate of Atlantis. Edgar Cayce, one of the most famous clairvoyants in history, also mentioned the Lemurians in his visions. According to his insights, unlike the Atlanteans who supposedly inhabited the earth to redeem their karmic debt, the Lemurians bore no such responsibility. Their goal was to raise their spirits and then learn to control and manage their physical bodies. The intrigue surrounding Lemuria and the ancient Lemurians intensified further in 2013 when geologists discovered sunken granite fragments in the ocean south of India, extending to Madagascar, which coincided with the occult belief that Lemuria once existed in that region. Among the additional evidence is the discovery of remarkable megalithic structures, such as the Moai on Easter Island, and similar ones on several Pacific islands where the Lemurians are believed to have resided. Researchers suggest that these structures were built by the Lemurians themselves. Already in the 15th century, a group known as Tamil nationalists used the term Kumari Kandam. It first appears in the Kanda Puranam, the Tamil edition of the Skanda Puranam, a sacred Hindu text. It refers to an ancient, now lost continent called the birthplace of civilization. The narrative also spread to India, where the country once accepted the legend as a historical fact. It describes a land that was long ago swallowed by water called Kumari Kandam, which is now called Lemuria. According to folklore, Lemuria and Kumari Kandam are one and the same, a legendary lost continent of the ancient Tamil civilization located in the Indian Ocean. The narrative speaks of its rulers ruling the entire Indian subcontinent, suggesting that the Tamil civilization is among the oldest. When Kumari Kandam disappeared beneath the waves, its inhabitants scattered and created different civilizations, turning the ancient continent into the lost birthplace of civilization. There is no definite evidence for the existence of Lemuria or Kumari Kandam. However, researchers from India's National Institute of Oceanography have found that about 14,500 years ago the sea level was about 100 meters lower, and about 10,000 years ago it was about 60 meters lower. This suggests that there may have been a land bridge connecting Sri Lanka and mainland India in the past. Global warming accelerated 12,000 years ago, causing sea levels to rise and periodically flooding numerous settlements along the coasts of India and Sri Lanka. One of the pieces of evidence supporting the existence of Kumari Kandam is the so-called Adam's Bridge, composed of sand, small pebbles, and corals, which connects mainland India with Sri Lanka. As with any myth, this one seems to have a grain of truth. The legends of Kumari Kandam may one day eventually be confirmed. But for now, there are no such prospects. One of the ramifications of the theory of the coexistence of Atlantis and Lemuria leads us to an alleged conflict that occurred more than 12,000 years ago between the two civilizations. The submerged lands of Lemuria and Atlantis are believed to have been destroyed as a result of a nuclear conflict caused by the Anunnaki, who convinced the Atlanteans that they should dominate the earth according to an obscure account dating back more than 12,000 years, to which is spoken of in texts such as the Chronicles of Akakor. A nuclear war led to global disaster, but some Lemurians and Atlanteans managed to survive. The story goes that more than 12,000 years ago, the two continents were located above water. Lemuria was located in the Pacific Ocean, and Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean. In the Chronicles of Akakor, Carl Bruguera claims that the two continents were inhabited by two different divine races whose civilizations are much more advanced than ours. The conflict between them escalated and culminated in a devastating battle involving nuclear weapons. Darkness covered the surface of the earth. Although the sun continued to shine, a vast, dense fog cast a shadow over the landscape. Peculiar signs appeared in the sky. A red sun in a dark trajectory intersected. Says a passage from the story. The two divine factions tried to drain each other's energy as they incinerated the planet with solar heat. The rivers changed, the mountains shifted, and the brightness of the sun changed. Floods followed that wiped out entire continents. Lemuria is also mentioned in several mysterious Hindu tablets discovered by James Churchward in 1864. He and the high priest of the temple concluded that the tablets told of the lost land of Mu, inhabited by the Nakalis or Holy Brothers. The tablets say that Mu or Lemuria sank about 12,000 years ago, and that Easter Island and the other Polynesian islands are remnants of that lost land. The American psychic Edgar Cayce received a telepathic vision from extraterrestrial beings coming from Cassiopeia. According to their accounts, the Atlanteans had a long history, developed space travel capabilities, and even established bases on other planets, such as Mars. In addition, they possessed a secret technology that harnessed energy from space with the help of huge crystals. There is conflicting evidence about the nature of the Atlanteans. Some sources portray them as intelligent and benevolent beings who eventually turned malevolent, while others claim they originated from another solar system and were cold and callous in nature. We opened this long parenthesis with this clarification because the narrative goes like this. The Atlanteans coexisted peacefully in Atlantis since 210,000 BC. However, their society was compromised by the Anunnaki and especially by corrupt Atlantean high priests. The conflict with Lemuria began when these depraved Atlanteans, self-proclaimed sons of Belial, began to dispute the Lemurians for global dominance about 25,000 years ago. The Atlanteans are trying to subjugate all the other tribes and civilizations on Earth. On the other hand, the Lemurians advocated the natural evolution of other societies and called for non-interference. This position eventually led the Atlanteans to start a war against Lemuria, which ended with a plan for a nuclear strike. The disaster was further exacerbated by the igniting of underground gas reserves. Over 60 million Lemurians perished as a result. The remaining survivors hid in caves before launching another attack on the Atlanteans. However, the final demise of this ancient continent was inevitable due to a series of natural disasters caused by the weapons used. The many Atlanteans also fled and hid in caves all over the world. It is said that symbols associated with Atlantis, such as spirals and crescent moons, can still be found in these caves today. As the ages passed and the stability of the Earth was restored, the two civilizations revived and gave rise to the cultures we know today as Sumer, Egypt, India, and China. Later, the Anunnaki returned and secretly took control of Earth, marking the beginning of history as we know it. Fantastic story, myth, or reality? We leave it to you to judge for yourself. Undoubtedly, the great obscurity and the impossibility of researching any artifacts today related to these ancient civilizations will continue to excite our interest and curiosity for many centuries to come. Subscribe to the channel if you like what we do and support us by leaving a comment.